Hey guys, welcome to Spectator Mode. We got a great episode for you today. We're going to be talking about Blizzard and their Hearthstone controversy and what that means for their esports division. Going to be talking about Fortnite Chapter 2 that just released. And Riot is releasing an FPS and trying to get into the Counter-Strike market. And then we're also going to be talking a little bit about Counter-Strike tournaments, if we can get to it, this time on Spectator Mode. How's it going, guys? I'm Ethan.
I'm Spencer.
And here on Spectator Mode, we are the esports podcast for the gaming Collegian. Today we're going to start off with a little bit of Fortnite news. Last week, I want to say, was it around Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, I thought it was like Sunday. It was like Saturday or Sunday.
Night, yeah. Because I remember talking about it here on Monday for the TGC Radio podcast. Fortnite shut down, essentially. They deleted the game, and it turned into a black hole for a couple of days. And then, obviously, they restarted. There's a whole new map. There's going to be new skins and stuff like that. It's just their Chapter 2, so to speak. So, I mean, that's kind of an interesting thing for the tournaments that are going to be coming up.
I thought it was interesting how they did it. I don't know how active, Epic Games is in the competitive Fortnite scene. I mean, if I'm a pro, I'm a little upset because I wake up to Fortnite saying, "Please uninstall me," and you're like, "What?" But I don't know how much in terms of the gameplay has changed.
It's probably mostly the same. It's Fortnite. I mean.
That's a good point. But if I was a Fortnite pro, I honestly probably would have been a little upset when it happened, just because I was like, this is your livelihood. This is how you're depending on putting up food in the table, and then
the game tells you a lol uninstall.
Yeah, and you're like, come on, man. I thought it was interesting what they did. The whole Konami code being put into the black hole.
Yeah, there's a couple of cool little things in there. There was a series of numbers that when you put them into Google Maps, it brought you to a real-life crab rave, essentially to say Fortnite is gone.
That's pretty cool.
Which was kind of funny, but...
yeah, so for stuff like that, I thought it was cool.
And to people that were worrying that Fortnite was actually going to be deleted,
no way.
No obviously, they're not going to do that. It's a cash cow.
Too much money. Yeah, it makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool, though. I guess what I would hope to see is that in the future, Epic either does one of a couple of things. Either one, with this Fortnite 2 or whatever coming out, they'll do a competitive game mode where it's just building, just the weapons, no extra features, and then you have casual or something where then you can have the extra stuff, when they added the mech and stuff. Because the biggest problem with the game right now is they'll roll out these things that are wildly overpowered, and then pros are like, well, what do I do? What am I supposed to do against this? I didn't find it, so I lose. And it adds to that RNG a bit for those kinds of competitive games, but I think it's even worse because now you're not only factoring in quality of different rarity of loot, but also just what loot in general. So I think I'd like to see them do that in Fortnite Chapter 2. But other than that, I think it's cool, new thing that's coming out.
Yeah.
Pretty cool overall. Another big announcement or big thing that happened, the new Riot FPS Project A, which very little has come out about. Just the short little GIFs, they announced it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So Riot is releasing an FPS called Project A. It's a character-based first-person shooter. The gameplay style looks a little bit more like Counter-Strike than it looks like Overwatch, but it's got the character abilities of Overwatch. We still don't know what type of game type it's gonna have. So how Counter-Strike has defuse game type, and Overwatch has the sort of payload or King of the Hill style games. We don't know 100% what Project A is going to be like in that sense. But, I mean, visually it looks like, I mean, it's blocky.
Yeah, I think it's in pre-alpha right now,
Yeah.
which is fair. I guess my two biggest concerns that came out of like the GIFs and the stuff they were showing was, one, the shields and like the barriers they're creating, just because, I mean, you know, we've played Overwatch where like it's just, I mean, if you have two barriers thrown at you and you're just trying to shoot through it, you're like, come on.
Yeah, if you're playing Overwatch and you don't have at least one shield on your team, you're playing the game wrong.
No, the meta is two now. It's you run Sigma or Sigmire and probably Orisa or Reinhardt.
Yeah.
But I guess especially for a game like Counter-Strike, where if you could just create a wall out of nowhere, it'd be nuts.
Yeah.
And while yes, other characters will have abilities, if they're going for this kind of almost slower tactical game style, I'm a little worried that they're going to create too many characters with walls, and you'll just start getting walled off. And that would be my biggest concern. Other than that, I'm thrilled for this game.
Yeah, and it looks like the shooting style is a little bit more like twitchy, like a Counter-Strike style.
Which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I remember seeing sort of like an op.
Yeah, that looked cool.
In one of the bits of the trailers.
Yeah. It's looking pretty cool. I think one of the developers of Cache is actually working on it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
Counter-Strike map Cache.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool, just after releasing the rework of it.
Yeah.
Let me make sure, actually. But, yeah, looking forward to that. I think the gameplay looks pretty cool.
It does. It looks really interesting. I remember they showcased one of the characters' abilities, and they, like, were throwing knives and like floating around the map.
Oh, that one was cool. We're like jump over the wall.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Definitely have to see what it's like when it is available to play. Yeah. I know that apparently a lot of sort of behind the scenes people have been playing it for quite a while, like a few years.
Whoa.
I remember, I think it was Sapphire, the Counter-Strike observer, that was saying that like she's been playing it for like at least a year or two behind the scenes, and she's excited for it. So hopefully it's really good. It'd be, at the very least, having some sort of competition in the market is really good.
Yeah, I think it'll force Valve to make their game better, and I think it'll force Riot to make a game that will rival Counter-Strike, which not easy. It's one of the biggest esports right now, but Riot does have the biggest with League. So
one of, if not the biggest.
Yeah. Any hopes or concerns about it?
I mean, I just hope it's fun. Like, I want it to just be a little bit better than Overwatch.
I just can't. As long as it's not as frustrating as Overwatch, I can play it. Because that's the problem with Overwatch, where everyone's just frustrated with it right now.
Overwatch is fun. It's just you don't have fun playing it.
You don't.
You hate yourself every time you play it, but you can't stop.
Yeah. So I guess, that's what I'm hoping for from Project A. But I'm very excited for it. Any news in the future that's coming up, I always want to hear.
Yeah, I'm gonna be paying attention to it for sure.
Yeah. Other big news, the Blizzard controversy.
Yeah. So if you didn't listen to TGC Radio, Blizzard has been getting into a lot of hot water recently. So one of the Hearthstone pros, Blitzchung, do you know exactly what he did?
Yeah, so he was competing in the Grandmasters tournament, which is just like a regional tournament. So he was in the Asia Pacific area.
Because I believe he's Chinese or of Chinese descent or from Hong Kong or something like that.
Yeah. And he basically had on like some mask and he said "Free Hong Kong." Immediately cut the broadcast, Blizzard did. And what was wild to me was when you watch the broadcasters, like if this is the computer that's in front of them for spectating, they're like this. Like they're hiding and they're like laughing with like that nervous laughter of like, I'm in big trouble. Like they did nothing. It's just, so initially what happened was Blizzard cut the broadcast. The casters got fired, which was weird. Yeah, they got fired. Blitzchung got a year ban, and any money that he won from Grandmaster so far was taken away.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you don't get that. Then, about a couple of days later, Hearthstone also has like the collegiate esports team, which it was some American university. I can't remember the exact name of it at the moment. Essentially what this kid did is they're in the game. It's the final moments of the game. The other school is winning, and one of the kids holds up a sign that says "Free Hong Kong." It was essentially what Blitzchung was saying, "Free Hong Kong."
Yeah.
Immediately before the game was over, like it was in the final moments, they actually cut away, and they just cut to the winners playing without the gameplay. And they said that there's just going to be no more interviews after the game or after games tonight.
Yeah.
The kid didn't face any penalties initially, so then people were complaining. Well, it's just Blitzchung's getting punished, but this kid isn't. What's going on? Come on, why?
Yeah.
Going back and forth.
In this article, it just says the American University.
Yeah, I think it was like something weird like that, but it was literally just American University.
Yeah. So they held up a sign that said, "Free Hong Kong, boycott Blizz."
Oh.
I think that might have been the big thing, is that if you're on a Blizzard podcast, a Blizzard cast,
and you're
broadcast,
saying
boycott Blizzard, that's a big no.
I mean,
I feel like even if it said Free Hong Kong, he probably still would have gotten banned based on the Blitzchung thing.
But with Free Blizzard on it, or not
Boycott Blizzard.
Boycott Blizzard, my bad. But yeah, so then he gets in huge trouble with it. He got a 6-month ban eventually.
Yeah.
And then Blitzchung, they simply removed his punishment just down to a 6-month ban.
Yeah.
But
they gave him his money back.
They did. So there's a couple of big problems though, is that now every other like Blizzard game player has been going wild.
Yeah.
And I think that, at least for me as a Blizzard fan, they've already been kind of in dicey waters with the disastrous Diablo launch or Diablo announcement. For your phones. Don't you have phones? That was just a disaster. Everyone wanted something else. We all know.
Everyone wanted Diablo 4.
Yeah, and we kind of got it just with phones. And then you have just the state of Overwatch right now, where I don't think many people are happy with it. I think a lot of big streamers, a lot of people who played it for a while, a lot are moving away just because people are not happy with it. You had the massive Blizzard layoffs. They laid off a ton of people from everywhere, and it's just been this kind of weird thing where they're not the Blizzard that everyone grew to love, just because everyone, like, they keep messing stuff up. They keep making these weird moves.
Yeah.
And it backfires hard, and then Blizzard's like, well, why? And it's like, well, this is why.
Yeah.
So then people I think that's kind of where it's coming from. People tried deleting their accounts at one point, and then Blizzard stopped them from deleting their accounts.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that one.
That was a little wild. And what's kind of funny is it's leaking in to the other games now, because like I think May is now this like Free Hong Kong like.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, like it's been going wild. I think Frank, our friend Frank, he showed me some like picture of like someone was also doing something with a StarCraft 2 unit, if I believe, where it was like some Free Hong Kong, like it's just, and everybody's been fighting about it. It's just gone so horribly wrong. Everyone's fought, everyone's been unhappy.
And to me, I understand Blizzard's side of it, where this is their broadcast. It's not people argue freedom of speech, but when you're on somebody else's broadcast or you enter a school area, when you enter certain places, you rescind your free speech rights to a degree.
Yeah.
And when you're on a Blizzard broadcast, they sort of have, like, almost not control, but like they have things that they don't want you to say.
Well, they have like a rule set, and
they
in
have
the
that rule
rules
set,
for
yeah.
Hearthstone it says to like Blizzard's discretion.
Yeah.
So what that means, who knows? But to Blizzard, at their discretion, this moment, the Blitzchung broadcast, they're like,
Yeah.
we don't want it, kick him out.
My problem with it is that this should have been something like the entire controversy could have been avoided if they just contact him and say, "Hey, listen, that's not cool. It's in our rule book that we don't have political speech on our broadcasts."
Yeah.
Which I believe it is in their rule book that says that there's no political speech. There didn't have to be a punishment, no 6-month ban. I think taking his money away, taking his prize money that he worked for, I think that's disgusting.
Well, because it's his livelihood.
Yeah.
It's like, this is how you're making money. This is what you're doing. So to take this away from me, like, what am I going to do?
Yeah. And, like, they could have put out a press release and say, Blitzchung's actions and his words do not reflect Blizzard's, because they don't.
Yeah.
Very obviously now, they don't reflect Blizzard's beliefs.
Yeah.
So why not just have a blanket press release, talk to Blitzchung about it? This whole thing breaks down because of no communication on either end. Well, on Blizzard's end, that is.
Yeah.
I'm sure Blitzchung would have been happy to talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel pretty similar. I guess I wasn't too surprised when it happened, though, just because of how big of a market share China is, and the Chinese government controls
huge.
it. So
everybody's trying to get into the Chinese market now that they're a little bit more open.
And so I think as soon as they see this, I almost guarantee you they were talking to some foreign leader in China about this, or somebody in China, and it was basically them just going, look, like, please, like, we'll get rid of it. It'll never happen.
Yeah.
It sucks for sure. I don't think you like to. I mean, no one likes to see it. I think what's even. It's kind of snowballed wildly out of control. Which I think Blizzard. I think they're too unprepared to deal with this.
Yeah.
They have no gauge. I mean, going back to earlier about how, like, everyone used to love them.
Yeah.
They're in this weird spot now.
Like 3 years ago.
Yeah, everyone loved them. It was Blizzard.
Yeah.
I mean, you just love Blizzard. That's what everyone does. And so I think they're in this weird spot now of, like, we don't know where we're going. We don't know what's happening. People don't love us anymore. This is wild. This is weird. Like, we don't know how to deal with this. And then they have a controversy for any games company, mind you.
Yeah.
Any company that has this, it probably would have unfolded in some way similar of the broadcast gets taken down. Like they're taken away, they're getting a ban of some kind. But I think for Blizzard, where no one's telling them, we love you anymore, they're just kind of like, what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do?
And I'm wondering how much of this stems from Activision being above them. I don't know. I'm not on the inside.
Yeah.
This could just be all Blizzard just screwing up.
Who knows?
And I will say, part of this was a little bit on Blitzchung, because
he had to have known the actions.
He had to have known the consequences.
To know this is what's going to happen.
I guarantee if he does this on Twitter or on, like, his own YouTube channel or something like that, nothing comes of it, and it's just a non-topic. But I also understand if he just, like, put this out on Twitter, that's not going to get nearly as much publicity as it would on the broadcast.
Yeah.
So,
because now gamers everywhere care about the liberation of Hong Kong, which is kind of wild. Like,
yeah, that is
no
insane.
one thought about that. Like, you're telling me that, like, no, it wasn't on people's minds.
Yeah.
So,
but now it is, and now Blizzard fans, people that play all Blizzard games, are now getting onto this bandwagon. So, like,
Yeah. If that was his
it's
goal,
insane.
3 million IQ.
Yeah,
Blitzchung,
if that's his goal, that's really smart.
best Hearthstone player in the world.
Yeah, and it's if he was thinking like, okay, these are the potential consequences, but at the same time, this could be a really positive thing.
Yeah.
Then that's a really, really smart decision on his part. If he was not anticipating the consequences, then this is partially on him. It could have 100% been his goal to just spark up this whole thing, this whole controversy, which would have been really, really smart of him.
Yeah. Genius play.
Yeah.
I want to talk just a little bit about like the ripples it went throughout the community scene of Hearthstone, just because I know obviously you don't follow it. I follow it lightly. I don't follow it as much as I used to, but
Well,
Brian,
we bullied you out of it.
Yeah. But I know Brian Kibler has stopped. He said he's not casting for Grandmasters for the rest of the year, which was wild. Just because he's a community figure who everyone loves, everyone talks to. He's a nice guy. Actually made it in the Hall of Fame for Magic the Gathering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just this like card game legend. And so he said, I can't cast anymore. Or like, I'm not going to cast for the rest of I don't know if it's the rest of this year or the rest of this season. And while I think there's a lot of support for him coming out, there's another caster who, Admirable, who he's like, I don't make money, as much money streaming. This is how I make money, through casting. I can't afford to not cast. I can't afford to pull out. I have to keep doing this.
Yeah,
so
completely understandable.
No matter where I'm landing on this, like, this is where I have to keep going. And I think that's really kind of where most Hearthstone pros have gone at this point, which is, this is my living. I have to keep playing. You know, I'm just going to separate myself from the game, or the company from the game almost. I think that's what you're seeing a lot of people do now. Another funny thing, the Overwatch New York, the Switch Overwatch launch day at Nintendo New York was canceled. The event was canceled because they were worried about protesters. And I think now a big worry from people is protesters at BlizzCon.
Yeah, because there's been protesters organizing, like saying, hey, we're going to BlizzCon, we're protesting.
Yeah.
And do you know when BlizzCon is?
It's coming up. It's very
soon. I want to say it's in November. And man, BlizzCon could be fun this year. Really interesting. I'm really looking forward to it, just to see what happens.
Yeah. I'm excited for Warcraft 3. Because now that all this has happened, Warcraft 3, it was supposed to come out in December. It's coming out now.
Yeah.
Also, Blizzard's Epic Gaming Convention takes over on November 1st through 3rd. So,
wow. Okay. So in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. It's very a week and a half.
Yeah.
So I think they're starting to sweat bullets a bit. But yeah, interesting stuff overall. I think if anything else, this will be studied in like public relations classes.
It could, yeah.
How not to handle a situation because of how just horribly this went.
Yeah.
Which is just funny to me, if anything else.
That is really funny that Blizzard could live on forever in
Infamy.
PR nightmare infamy.
Yeah. So yeah. Talk a bit about CS.
Yeah, we
if you want
got
to.
a couple of minutes left. We
Yeah.
can talk about ESL New York and DreamHack Malmo, and then Star Series, which just started today.
Yeah, I only saw a little bit about Star Series, which I saw a little bit of the MIBR Renegades game before I came here.
Let me check what was going on, because the third map was in overtime when we got here.
I will say I'm pretty happy with how MIBR
Renegades
has been playing. Renegades won.
Yeah.
I'm a Renegades fan. Love them to death. The boys. But I'm happy to see that like MIBR have kind of started to like flow together again.
A little bit, yeah. I'm surprised that this project might be working.
Yeah. It's surprising that minus Cold plus KNG is what is the fix that they needed.
Well, the thing is that KNG is a very good player.
He is. That's true.
Who did they kick before? It was Phelps. It was
They
Phelps
had
and then to
Phelps.
Lucas.
Well, they had KNG and they kicked, or not KNG. They had FNX.
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah, and then they kicked him for Phelps, and then they kicked Phelps for Bolts,
Yep.
and
that
then
worked.
minus Bolts for Phelps, and now minus Phelps. I think it was Henny 1 actually. Or,
No,
it was Lucas
It was
1.
it was minus Taco for Stewie.
That's right.
Then minus Bolts for Tarek. Then minus Stewie and Tarek for Phelps and Taco, which they already knew didn't work.
And then they added Lucas. It's Lucas or Henny?
It's Lucas.
Lucas.
Henny is on Furia.
Yes, that's right. They added Lucas and then Cold, who I think it was pretty. I think when Stewie and Tarek were leaving MIBR, it was pretty apparent that there were some underlying problems with that teams. Not just not playing well, but just meshing well together. Because like, I think some of the one of the players even said, I think it was Tarek, where it was like, you know, despite whatever happened this year, I'm still glad I did it. It was a new experience, but there had to have been something. I mean, Cold left, which is wild.
I think Cold said he had debated leaving multiple times over the past couple of years, year or two.
Yeah.
Which, that's a big tell as to why he has not been very good.
Yeah. I'm hoping to see something come out of him in this phase lineup, which I have said. I'm a little bummed that Alexi B is not in it. Still excited to see where Alexi B is going to go. Almost joined Complexity, which would have been interesting.
I think Complexity has a chance to be pretty good with Blame F.
Yeah, they
Blame
could.
F is a very, very good in-game leader. He helped turn Heroic to an actual contender for, at the very least, an upset contender.
Yeah. You know what? Rush is on Complexity, so I'll vote for him. Let's go Rush.
Yeah. So ESL 1 New York happened.
Yeah, that was a nuts tournament.
Very, very interesting storylines.
Evil Geniuses won, and then top 8, Liquid got out.
Yeah.
So
To Astralis again.
To Astralis again. And this is what's kind of wild, I guess, just about the ranking of the #1 team in the world at the moment, is that I think it was actually the coach for Evil Geniuses. I can't remember his name at the moment. He said, any team in the top 20 can beat any team.
Chet.
Yes.
I'm a pet.
Yeah. Where any team in the top 20 can beat any team.
I can see that.
So it's kind of hard to rank the #1 team in the world because while yes, I do think Astralis have Liquid on lock at this point, where in the last 2 times they've won in such a convincing fashion. Against teams like Evil Geniuses, we're not seeing this performance by Astralis anymore. Against Fnatic, I mean, it's going 16-14. Astralis is winning, but Fnatic is keeping it close. Fnatic just won Malmo, which we'll talk about in a second. Which I, as a spectator, and I know you feel the same way, it's thrilling to watch.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who's going to win. And there's always this off chance that JKS, Crims, Flusha, Tarek, Stanislaw, any of these players could just pop off and just show up at any moment and just do something nuts. And you're like, let's go.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah.
It's
Greyhound
something that
Gaming did something nuts.
Yeah.
They went pretty far in it was either Malmo or New York.
I think it was Malmo.
Where they didn't go 0-3, which everyone's like, whoa.
Yeah. It's always really interesting to have a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Because this is something that we haven't had in Counter-Strike for a while. We had it, I want to say, a bit at the beginning of 2017. There was this feeling that a lot of the top teams can beat a lot of the top teams, because that's when Cloud9 won the Boston Major.
That's a good point. And then you had Fnatic winning the big tournament. You
they won Katowice.
FaZe beating Astralis, being the underdogs with Exist.
I think that was in Sydney.
That was. I believe you're right.
Yeah. But then towards the end of 2017...
Astralis.
Or end of 2017... I mean, no, maybe I'm thinking of 2018. Sorry, not 2017, 2018. The beginning of 2018 was... it seemed like anybody could beat anybody, but then as 2018 went along, Astralis started to pick things up. They started dominating.
They won the
up
major.
until the beginning of 2019, at the first major of 2019. Then they dropped off because they stopped going to tournaments, and then Liquid picked up in the summer.
And now we're back. Now we're here. We're Liquid. I wouldn't call them number one.
No, they're not. Astralis is number one right now.
But I don't know who would. I mean, I guess, yeah, Astralis is
Yeah.
the best one to say at this point.
Astralis is the clear number one choice, but they are not a strong number one.
That's true. They're not as far ahead as
Yeah.
they used to be.
Yeah, not at all. Like Evil Geniuses right behind them. Liquid is still right behind them.
Liquid right behind
They're
them.
just hitting.
Fnatic is doing
Fnatic is up there.
very, very well, which is good.
Yeah.
Let me look at
Navi, who knows what Navi is going to do?
They are actually, I was watching some of them. They're looking pretty good. I think I'm so happy that they picked up Boomage because after watching how they're playing and how Boomage is playing, he's just getting that extra frag that they needed.
Yeah.
Simple gets 4 kills, and then Zeus couldn't get the 5th, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, we're not going to win rounds like these where Boomage is like, well, I'll get 2 kills.
I
You can
think-
relax a bit, Simple.
I think bringing Guardian in and
Yeah.
letting Simple
Free him up.
reign free,
Yeah.
that could be really, really big for their game.
I think they are the most promising, honestly, to me now out of any team. And I think that they have a team that will do well. I could see them winning the grand finals of a tournament in 2 or 3 months.
Definitely.
Which, I mean, Lord knows Simple deserves it, and then so does Guardian.
Yeah.
And then so does Electronic. So
And then, unfortunately, that's going to be it. I did want to talk a little bit about Tens and Cloud9 and about
Got kicked.
Star, like the storylines in Star Series, but unfortunately, we're out of time today.
Next time.
Next time, maybe. Thanks for joining us today. If you would like to follow us, you can follow us at Spectator Mode or at Gaming Collegian on Twitter. And if you want to read articles, watch the TGC Radio podcast, look at some Let's Plays, anything like that, you can go to gamingcollegian.org. And this has been Spectator Mode, and we'll see you next time.